Hello and welcome to this video. What I want to share with you today is a really fantastic tool from NLP called an agreement frame. This is something that I use a lot and I found it really powerful, and it's really helped me in my life. And what it's going to enable you to do is to have a complete difference of opinion, disagreement or opposing opinion about virtually any subject in any kind of context, be it business, personal or family, and while leaving the other person feeling fully intact, and more importantly really respecting and liking you a lot in spite of the fact you've had a disagreement. Now, as I said, it's called the agreement frame, and what we want to do is we want to just explore first of all what can often happen when you do have a disagreement and why the other person feels that drop that I was talking about. So let's take a really simple basic example. Let's say you're at work with a colleague or in a small business or medium-sized business, and somebody says, I think it would be a great idea to advertise our product or service in this new magazine. You might, if you disagree with that, you might say something along the lines of, yeah, I understand, but I think it would be a lot better if we spent our money with existing magazines that we advertise with and had a bolder presence in those magazines. So, which may be completely right, or it's not about being right or wrong, it's just about the linguistic tools that you use around conflict. So what's happened in that statement that I've just said to somebody, so there's a couple of words in there which I just quickly want to talk about. One of the words that I used is a really powerful word that we use a lot in the English language, and it's the word but. Now, but is a fantastic word, and most people don't really understand that but is a negator or deleter. So it negates everything that came before it. So just try this out. Go to your friend and say to them, wow, your hair today is looking absolutely fantastic, and I've always thought you were such a photogenic person, and your dress sense is superb, but... Now, whatever I say after that, can you see how that friend will be thinking, wow, yes, I really do. I do have great dress sense. My hair does look fantastic. But as soon as I use that word but, their defences are going to pop up and they're going to delete everything that I said to them, and they're also going to anticipate that there's probably going to be some bad news following the word but. And also, everything that you've said, they're going to now take that on board. Instead of a lovely compliment, they'll take that on as a softener. They'll feel that you were simply softening them up for the real message that's going to follow the word but. So, we're not suggesting don't use but, we just want you to understand that it is a negator and it deletes everything that came before it. The other word that I used in my response was the word understand. Now, this is again a very powerful word, and what can often happen in people's minds when you use the word understand is that they can actually start to think, you know what, actually you don't understand. You don't really understand where I'm coming from on this. You don't really get it. You don't get me. You don't understand me. And even though that you're saying that you do, I don't really think you do. So then what we can do, if we want to really make things awkward, is that we can combine those two words. So we can say, yes, I understand, and the person's already thinking, well, actually, I'm not convinced that you do. And then we can say, but, which actually deletes the fact that you just said that you understood, and we just carry on with whatever we think. There's a much better way. We can use three words and follow that with and. So we can say, I accept and, I agree and, I respect and. So, I accept and, I agree and, I respect and. This is much smoother. So let's take that example, exactly the same example. Colleague says, I think we should advertise in this new magazine that's just come out. We say, I agree that magazine does look very interesting, and I think it'd be much better to expand our presence in our current magazines by having a bigger or bolder advert. Now, can you see that essentially my message is the same, But can you feel that drop? It's just not there. It's like a pothole in the road that's suddenly been covered over. The other person doesn't feel, ugh. They feel like, okay, fair enough. So that would be, I agree, ... and. I agree that magazine looks interesting and looks good, and I think it'd be better if we did something completely different. On a personal level, I'm a parent of a 4-year-old child, and I don't think that smacking is something that's good for me to do. I don't feel comfortable around smacking children, but I understand that some people do, and or maybe I don't understand, but anyway, some people do. So if somebody was to say to me, I think smacking kids is a useful and necessary part of parenting, I might say something like, I respect that technique is working for you, and I've always found that talking to the child and communicating is a much better way of parenting than smacking for me. So you can have the point of that was just to say you can have something that you really, really disagree with and you really think is a terrible idea, but still leaving that person without a drop. Now, we're certainly not suggesting that you shouldn't use the word but. We're suggesting that you should understand what function the word but actually serves, and understand the power of that. So, for instance, where I would use it is supposing you've had a tradesperson come round and replace a sink, and they've replaced the sink, they've done a great job, but there's rubble everywhere and there's dirt and they haven't cleaned up, and they're saying, right, I've finished now, and here's your invoice and I'll see you later. You could say something like, well, I can see that you're finished, but what about all of the dirt and mess that you've left behind? So it's a very powerful word, particularly if you know when to use it and when not to use it. Now, some people, when we've been teaching on one of our practitioner courses or our NLP diploma course, it's come up, people have said to us, don't you think this is a bit unnatural, or don't you think it's something that doesn't flow very well, or do you really use this in your regular life? The answer is yes, I certainly do use this in my regular life. I'm also a musician, and sometimes if I'm learning a new phrase, I play the sax, and sometimes if I'm learning a new phrase on the sax, it can feel really awkward and clunky, and while I'm learning it in practice. And then first time if I'm at a gig and I use that phrase, I think, oh, there's an opportunity to use the phrase coming up, and I'll use this new phrase, and then afterwards inside I'll be thinking, yay, I did it, it works, and came out even though it might have been a little bit clunky. And then after I've used that phrase 6 or 8 or 10 times, it just flows naturally and I'm not really consciously aware of it anymore. The agreement frame is exactly like that, but for linguistics. So yes, it can feel a little bit clunky. So next time you have an agreement with disagreement with somebody, and you might think, oh, I've got an opportunity to use the agreement frame, and you use it and you think, oh, I'm sure they're going to notice, and they never ever do. The only thing that they'll notice is that they don't drop down and they just feel positive about you. So it does take a little bit of practice. We do encourage you to give it a try and feed back to us. We'd love to hear what you think about this and how it's affected your life. This is exactly the kind of thing that we teach on our free courses. You can experience NLP for absolutely free. Do contact us about that, because we regularly do free talks and workshops and seminars and webinars on NLP. We also do a 2-day diploma course, which we'd love to have you on, and we do a practitioner course and a master practitioner as well. So you can find out lots of information on our website, which is cbptraining.com, and we're also on Facebook. If you do a search for CBP Training, we're on Facebook, and there's lots of interesting stuff on there. I do hope you found this useful, and we'd love to get your feedback, and enjoy it, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, take care. Bye bye.